I have to warn you that this is definitely out of my comfort zone. I've never done this before. Hello and welcome to a new episode of The Language Lady. I'm your host, Dr. Hemphill, and as you can tell, I am not in my office. I am getting ready for the day. The reason why this video looks a lot different is because a couple of weeks ago on my Instagram page, I asked you, the viewer, what you would like to see. Would you like to see a regular video or a teacher vlog, day in the life of an ESL teacher? And I was really pleasantly surprised that the majority of you did request a day in the life of an ESL teacher vlog. I have to warn you that this is definitely out of my comfort zone. I've never done this before, but I really wanted to engage with you and find out what you really want to watch. I also want to let you know, if for those of you who are new to my channel, I post a new video every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on strategies and resources to help you and your colleagues on how to meet the needs of your ESL students. So before I hop in my car, I just have to say this. I cannot get over just how light it is outside. For those of you who do not live in the States, we just experience our daylight savings over the weekend, so we fell back 1 hour, and it feels odd to wake up. It's nice, you know, to wake up and see the sun. However, I know that it's going to be a different feeling when it's time to go home and it's dark outside. I don't like the dark that much, but as you can see, it is nice and sunny outside. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to hop into my car and take you with me. So I'm in my car right now, and my commute without traffic should take only 20 minutes. But on a typical day, it takes me about an hour or so, or 40 minutes to an hour. So I usually try to leave my house by 6:45. So that I can get a head start on the traffic, because I do like to get to work at least 30 minutes prior to when I'm supposed to be there. I just realized that I did not change the time on in my car, so I'm going to do that before I head to work. For those of you who watch my Instagram stories, you know my routine. Every morning I have to ask for a coffee at my favorite coffee place, the Maple Donuts. I don't know what it is about their coffee, but I am absolutely obsessed with it. It just, I don't know, I just love it. It's convenient because it's on my way to work. So I made it to work. Didn't get here as early as I would have liked to. I would have liked to have gotten here around 7:30, but got here at 7:40. Not too bad. I can't believe how cold it is. I can just feel the change in the temperature, but I'm happy that I did get to fill up with gas, got my coffee, and I'll see you in a couple of minutes in my classroom. So I'm all settled in my classroom. The first thing that I do is I check my email just to make sure there's any changes for the day, or just to be prepared of what's going to happen. Then what I go ahead and do is I print out all my lesson plans that I've done over the weekend, so that I have them at my disposal. And then I just start listing on my board the objectives, the new objectives for the day, and what they're going to be doing. And just to give you kind of an idea, I do two things. I am the ESL intervention person for 8th grade, and I also co-teach with another ELA teacher. The intervention program that we use is called ILET. It's through Pearson Education, and it is a intervention program that allows students who are still in their language journey to proficiency, it helps to accelerate their reading growth. Also, what I do is I have two different types of groups. I have a newcomer group, and then I have students who are either at a level 2 and up in order to help them with their language proficiency. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, I pull those students, but I pull them during different times of the day so that they are not missing the same class more than once. It makes the schedule hectic for me and for them because they're catching on to the routine and to the pattern, but it does lose classroom time because I am also going to their classrooms. They're not coming to me. So I'm going up and down stairs, and I'm pulling them from their rooms, and I'm pulling them from various classrooms because they're not all just gathered in one room, which is a good thing. They should be spread out, but it does cause a challenge because as soon as we go up those flight of stairs and get them into the classroom, I have to be go so that they can get as much work accomplished. On the other 2 days of the week, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm with an ELA teacher, and I work with her to support the English language learners in the classroom. So that's kind of what my schedule looks like. Today's Monday, so I am going to have the newcomer group first, and I'm going to try to show you just a little bit of the work that they do. I don't have anyone else filming me so that you could see me teaching the class, but I will show you a little bit of the independent work just so you can get a feel of what IELTS looks like a little bit. However, I am going to not show you their faces for protection of the students, obviously. And that's about it. So I will catch you in here next time when I have the students with me. So the question is saying, blank children across the street are jumping rope. So is it singular or plural? Plural, excellent, okay? So it's far, right? So which one am I gonna say? It's plural, more than one, and it's far, so which one's plural and far? You can say it, don't be shy. Those. Those, good. So over here, you're gonna say, those children across the street are jumping rope. Okay. One of the really cool features about IELTS is that if they're reading a story at their independent level, they can click on a word. So Nashauti is gonna show you, she's gonna click on a word. You click on the word. And she can translate a whole paragraph, or she can just translate one word at a time. And if she plays it back, it will actually read it for her. And she can also play it back in English, which is a really neat feature of this program. So I wanted to show you one of the anchor, it's not really an anchor chart, and because we do move quickly through IELTS and we do so many different topics. One of the things that I do for them, and I know this is going to look backwards for you, but I do give them supports in the classroom. So one of the topics that's really hard for them to understand is this and that and these and those. So in many of my videos I talk about graphic supports. So this is an example of what I did so that I could explain to them the concept of this, that, these, and those. Sure, I wrote this or that, and I explained that I talked about closeness and something that is far. So, and it really helped them to conceptualize what this tree, with how to use this versus these and those versus that. And what was really neat is that after I taught them using this skill, I saw them repeatedly turning around to look at this example, because this is the back of the room, to apply it to what they were currently doing. What was really exciting is that some of the students were trying to do this without looking at it, and then they would turn around and look to verify if they were correct or not correct. So this could be used as an anchor chart or just something that you write on the board. This is a new unit that I'm teaching, so I haven't had the chance to create anchor charts for everything that we do, but that's my goal for next year, is to, this summer, is to start looking through what are some anchor charts that I can use so that they can use it as a support to help them when completing assignments.
Many minutes later.
So right now I have a planning period, 5 days a week. During the planning period, out of those 5 days, 3 of those I am part of a professional learning community. As an ESL teacher, because my role overlaps with so many different classrooms, I have to meet with other teachers so that I can show how I can support them in their planning process with their English language learners. The plus is that it gives them that opportunity to ask me any questions that they have. I can look at their planning. The downside is that I have less time for paperwork and all of the myriads of things that I have on my plate as an ESL teacher. So that's something that is really tricky. But today I do have a planning period as it is Monday. So what I'm going to do is work on some grading of IELTS because I am behind. There's so many assignments that they have submitted. So I'm going to go through and correct those. I also have a new student that arrived today, so I am going to be in communication with the central office to see if they have received any notifications about this student before I test him or not, because it could be that he's already been tested, so I don't have to test them. And also grades are due soon, so we have a learner report, which I will show you what it looks like. But first, let me show you what grading looks like in IELTS. So what I'll do is I will go into the class that I taught. I'll hit select. And then what I do is I go into assignments, and here is where I assign all the work that I have assigned to my students. And every time I see a red score, that means that's an assignment that I have to score, that I have to grade. Sent is something that they have not yet opened, and if it says progress, it means that there's something they're currently working at. So for example, we were working recently on demonstrative pronouns. And this was the assignment that I was talking about these, that, those. And this is a great formative assessment because it can tell me what students have understood the concept and which have not. So as you can see here, this student understood and was able to complete this correctly. So I'm going to go through each one, and I'm going to click on the score, and then I have the choice whether I click on incorrect, partially correct, or correct. Once I'm done, I'll hit submit, and then it goes into that student's folder, and they have a list of all the assignments, so if they need to refer back to it for any other assignment, they can. So here's an example of the learner report that we use. It's used for kindergarten through 12th grade, and the first thing I have to indicate is I grade them per the language level that they're at. So if they're entering, then I'm only going to focus on grading them at their level. And it looks at how they are accomplishing goals for listening, the speaking, reading, and then writing. And if they've mastered the skill, then they get a plus. If they get a slash mark, it's not mastered. We also have a multitude of languages in our building. So, for example, on my caseload, the majority of my students are Spanish speaking. So I have the option of grading them also on the Spanish side. And during parent-teacher conferences, it gives me an opportunity to really talk to the parents in detail regarding their progress in attaining a second language. Another task that I'm working on is that I progress monitor my students, and between around September and December, I have to have 8 points of data for my goal. And one of the goals that I'm looking at this year is speaking. So I'm having the students practice speaking a lot in different contexts within their the intervention class that they have with me, and also in their mainstream classes that they have in their content classes, I should say. So my goal is that they will move up at least one level before the school year is over. So if they're a level 1, hopefully they can move on to a level 2 level. And this is a lot of work because I am doing that for every single one of my kiddos. And right now I've been receiving so many kids. Currently I have about 53 students on my caseload, and it seems like within the past couple of weeks, I've been getting a new student per every week. So some of you have asked, like, what is the process for testing a student? Sometimes I'm alerted by the ESL office, the central office, if a new student is arriving, sometimes not. Sometimes we receive the student and a teacher will say, you know, I've received a student that doesn't speak English, and so I'll verify with the ESL central office, and they will alert me whether or not this student has already taken the access test in a previous school district. Therefore, I don't have to test them. So I always give it time, but I always introduce myself regardless, get to know the student, and provide any supports as needed. However, not until I am notified by the central office, I'm not allowed to screen them yet. So that's how, in a nutshell, that's how that works. So basically, for the rest of my planning period, as I mentioned before, I'm going to finish up grading. I'm going to start working on finishing up a couple or 2 or 3 learner reports that I have not yet to complete, and then start looking at some of the formative assessments that I've done on speaking and make sure to get those entered in. So that's pretty much my day. I have more classes that I'll be teaching for the rest of the day, and then my plan is to go home. I usually go to the gym, but I have so much work that I don't think I'm going to be able to get to the gym today. And I'm going to go home, cook, spend time with my family, and then I get things prepped for the following day and do the whole thing all over again the next day. Thank you so much for tuning in. As I mentioned before, I post a new video every week, and on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please don't forget that I also have an Instagram page under the same name and also a Facebook page. Please feel free to comment below as to what type of program that you're using, curriculum-wise, if you also are charged with an intervention program and what that looks like. And if you're using Pearson Islet, I'm curious to know what your experience has been with it. Has it been positive what has been the challenging aspect of it? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for another video. It will not be a vlog, but if you enjoyed this style, please make sure to comment below and let me know if you enjoyed this or not. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye.